Hi. So, I'm a little tiny bit late. I'm sorry about that. Um, I didn't mean to be late. I was building in Minecraft and trying to work on my story at the same time. Of course, Minecraft 1. What am I doing? I don't know why, but I was, like, starting to go into, the content thing, like I'd already done the video and needed to post it. Doesn't work that way, but anyway, you may hear rumblies in the background. The gardener is here today. Of course, he's gotta do that during my Minecraft stream. Anyway. So, yeah, I got another chapter done yesterday. Chapter 65. And it was called, Going Home 1, because then there's Going Home 2 after that. Um, anyway, yeah, I don't got much to talk about today. I'm not really, I mean, I should be. I guess I'm not, like, fully awake yet. Gotta take, father-in-law to dialysis later. Maybe we'll get lucky and then, like, call him in early. I don't know. I mean, it'd be fine if it was, regular time. I'm gonna have a big problem later, though. Later in the year, I mean, because, I don't see so good in the dark sometimes. If there's not, like, street lights and stuff, even with the headlights on, I don't see so well. Literally, this one time, this, I'm sorry, I'm gonna call him an idiot. In Tahoe, was wearing all dark clothes in the middle of a forest, so the trees are making shadows, even though it's night. The trees are making it darker than it needed to be, and I almost ran him over because I didn't see him. But I didn't put night blindness on my driver's license because then, like, if we have an emergency, I may not be able to get my husband to the hospital or get myself to the hospital or whatever. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm thinking very highly of taking one of my allergy pills because the solution the doctor came up with did not work. I think I just need to, take my allergy pill. It seems to work, but if it was the reason why, the reason I think it is, then My allergies shouldn't have been starting so early. But my allergies used to start in like February or March, even though it's hay fever. Don't understand that at all whatsoever, but I was told it was hay fever, and like if I'm allergic to something else, that would be very interesting. Well, technically, I remember saying that there's hay fever in the family, and the doctor kind of saying that that's probably what it is. I don't remember her actually coming right outright and saying it's hay fever. But I think it's really weird that it was triggered after having my daughter. Weird things like that can happen. It's normal, but I just think it's weird. Okay. So I worked on this a little bit yesterday. After Disneyland Adventures, and I worked on it a little bit after that. But I was also checking off stuff that I need to do for Honey Pot Falls, I think it is. Anyway, the Winnie the Pooh area in Dreamlight Valley. But I was doing this for a while too. But I start doing this, and this wins out if I'm trying to do my story at the same time. But with Dreamlight Valley, I could convince myself to do both. So that's how the chapter got done. I am almost all the way up to page 375, and I'm very happy about that. Like I said, it's probably going to come out in September, which would be kind of cool because my very first book came out in Pirate's Daughter came out in September of 2016, if I remember correct. Yeah. 3 either my nephew got born 3 days before I published my book, or my book was published 3 days before my nephew came. I can't remember right now. But anyway, it was within 3 days of each other. My nephew being born and my nephew being born and the book being published. So it was like way cool. Okay, and then we got all of those done. We just need to get this done. Oh, no, we didn't get all those done. We're missing this one. Not that. So, we've got 65 followers today. That is awesome. I will try not to ignore anybody. I thought I was doing pretty good, and then all of a sudden I totally missed James, and James, right? Yeah, James. Totally missed James. And then I haven't had anybody trying to chat with me since. I'm really bad at that. I'm trying to be good at that, but it's just not working. So, yeah, I'm trying to get this done. If I can today, that would be really great. But I don't think it's going to happen. Um, I'm not trying to be a doomsayer or anything. I just, I want to get the story done. I got to take father-in-law to dialysis, and looks like maybe we're going to the store later too. My husband's homesick today, so um, so it'd probably be better for me to. What if they don't got crackers?
Go elsewhere for crackers. Said that's as far as I wanted to go. Didn't say that's the only way we're going to go.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we're hoping to just go to the Dollar Tree, but if we have to, we'll go other places. Problem is, right now we haven't been able to pay the mortgage yet, and we're still struggling with paying. Um, with needing to buy cat food. Okay. That's the thing that's on my list. It's like, okay, I could ask for something cheap like ice cream, but our babies need to be able to eat, so unfortunately that's way more expensive. And all three of them have the problem where if we go and try to change their food, there's going to be an ick factor, and yeah, don't want to go there. If you don't understand ick factor, one of the first season episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I think, it's one where I don't know what happened in the episode, but I remember Willow was talking about Xander, like drank an entire bottle of Gatorade or something like that, as quickly as he could, I assume. That was back when they were like, a gallon or two jug. Sir, much more manageable sizes now. I don't know if that's because of, stuff like that story in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or if um, it's just because, like it went bad before you needed it for, for somebody being sick again. Um, you know what? I didn't even. Okay, so one of the people I watched for Dreamlight Valley, every time he goes on vacation, he gets sick for some reason. I think it's like because his body's not used to him being in a different environment. He's always in that little room, and there. He's always in that little room recording, and Maybe not always, but the way he says it is, he's always in that little room recording and doing stuff on his computer. And, and so, like, probably his body gets used to all of the, um, I don't know. I don't want to say germs, but the way it is in that room, and then when he goes out and does something fun, it's different. Or as seen during COVID, maybe it's just not very clean on those things. You think it is, but it isn't. But I hate to think that. I would like to go on a cruise one of these days, but I'm definitely going to make sure it's not that one, not the one that had the COVID problem. And not necessarily Disney, because, we should probably go to, not necessarily Disney, because the one time everybody thought they were going to have a fun time. They're supposed to go to 2 islands, and they went to one island and then got, or they went to, they ended up going to one island, and then the ship was having problems. So the lady said, "We'll keep you updated," and she didn't bother to say anything until the next morning when it was, "I'm sorry, we're going home." So, so like a whole bunch of people had not gotten off the ship because the second island was supposed to be the more fun, and the one, so it turned out that the ones that got off on the first island were the smart ones, I guess, but it wasn't anybody's fault. I mean, any of the guests' fault that um, that the ship broke down. It was just something happened. And the best that they could do was give you 20% off your next cruise. Well, if you had problems on the cruise that you were just on, you're not going to want to go on a second cruise. Now, I don't think they've been back. I mean, besides that, like a cruise is, I think they said like 8,000 per guest. I don't know. It was expensive. Whatever it was. I may be exaggerating on that 8,000, but um, it was really expensive, whatever it was. And I'm like, I would not want to do that. I mean, there's a lot better things I can think of to do with $8,000. But I was thinking that if we're going to take me on a cruise, like, start with the little, um, can't remember what you call it. Anyway, it's a boat or a small ship that goes up and around Alcatraz, and see if my tummy can handle that, and then see if my tummy can handle that if we have Dramamine, and then if the answer is no, if the answer is no, then don't do the big cruise. But if the answer is yes, then maybe I can figure out what it feels like to be out on the ocean. That's all I want to do. I don't necessarily want to go like to I mean, there's nothing against any of these countries, but like I don't necessarily want to go to um Ireland or where's another cruise? Maybe one goes to Australia. I don't know if I want to go. I mean, I would love to go to Ireland, actually. Just to see what it's really like. Maybe go for a big old long drive and actually go into to places and talk to people. There was a video, it's probably still there, on YouTube that is like, don't say these things when you go to Ireland because nobody says them anymore. Or nobody ever said them and somebody made it up. So, one of the only thing that I can remember from that whole entire video is top of the morning to you. Yeah, don't say that because you might get into a fight. That's what the lady said, and I she's either one of those people that travels all the time or she's actually from Ireland. I can't remember right now, but it was like, oh, okay. um, I want to say there was something about holding the door open for the next person. I don't know. Anyway, there was a lot of things in there that I'm like, okay. But I watched that like 2 years ago, so. No, I might have watched that actually during COVID. Yeah, I might have watched that during COVID. Wow. So, anyway, it was a long time ago. I am gonna try to get off of here at 11 again. I know I keep making it about time, but that's when it was supposed to end. It was supposed to be 8 to 11, and everybody seemed happy about it. Um, but sometimes it goes over because you're like so busy, building that you just lose track of time, or it's like the thing that you're doing on GTA isn't done yet. Um, oh, and speaking of that, I told my son I am not stealthy on GTA, and I really did not think that not following him up the mountain because I was going to fall down the mountain. Um, I was driving my Duke of Death like I always do, but I was not going on the road very well. So I was like, I'll go up this way because I just cannot follow the yellow brick road anymore. I get annoyed at how long it's taking, and thank you, baby. Anyway, I get annoyed at how long it's taking, and I just start going toward the marker. In GTA, I take account of where the yellow mark, the yellow circle, is taking me, the yellow dot, whatever you want to call that thing. And I start traveling toward it overland. I don't go and follow the roads. Well, he wanted to go in all stealthy. And I'm like, I don't know why we need to go in all stealthy. Um, I told him I wasn't stealthy. You sure you want me to play? And he's like, yeah. Well, okay. Except for that, me going around the other side, because it was a lot safer for me personally, I would have, fallen off the mountain. He didn't seem to understand that. He, got upset and went out of the thing and hasn't talked to me since. No, it was some party yesterday, so. And there's the gardener again. I actually hope that this is noise canceling enough that. Okay. So I found a video that said Disneyland, and I was expecting it to be at least an hour. And, since I've only been on here for about, uh, you know, yeah, I've only been on here for maybe half an hour. Um, I noticed that it was like 8:07, and then, I put the headset on and started recording. Because I play on Xbox, so it takes a little longer. Ew, I don't want to watch that one. Um, they're doing blindfolded. Um, they're doing blindfolded gymnastics. That might actually make it a little easier. Because, like, if you get scared and stuff, you wouldn't get scared. Wait, yeah. Dang it. Okay. So, yeah, I've got nothing to talk about. Um, well, the part of my story that I'm at, they finally, well, some of them have finally escaped Lorna's house. I think it's Ashley down to Laura, or Ashley down to, down to Alexander. They call him Alex. he's not in the story much, but Ashley does have 12 siblings, so that's one of the names. Anyway, something like that. So um so anyway, they finally escaped and they're back at the mansion. And Sean drives back with the minivan and um he's now talking to Hayden and something about, how all of the um, all of their luggage fit in the minivan before, and Hayden has just explained that his mom invited herself and his dad over for dinner, um, and you'll find out why, after I write that part. I mean, not write that part, audio that part. Um, Actually, I'll just tell you now. So it turns out that Adam, and I totally got this from the movie, I got the idea from the movie Quince. So, oh no, I think his name's Adam too. um, it, the Disney movie Quince, at one point, is five babies at once. And it's five babies at once. And one of them gets sick. Just the one. Not all five of them. Because they were quince this and quince that, and I guess it was based on a real story because they're like the first quince in their area or in the entire state, something like that. And so they were a big deal, and I mean, they probably still are a big deal if it's a real story. But so it was just quince, 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 But then all of a sudden, the one baby got sick, and it was, it was Adam. It wasn't all five of them. So like, the daughter that they had before the quince, she's like 13. She's like junior high age. And I want to say that she was played by the actress who plays Marnie in the Halloween Town movies. I'm pretty sure I'm right. And anyway, she's an artist, so she's been trying to, she's been trying to tell the family and the nanny she's been trying to tell the family and the nanny this whole time they're five individual people, not just one unit of quince. And, pretty much the parents are going, yeah, yeah, uh-huh, I get it, but they don't. And, it's quince, quince, quince. And the nanny is, over there calling them numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it turns out that She thought that she could handle everything. The nanny thought she could handle everything, and she was way out of her league. Okay. Okay, that looks like it lets out into the hallway. So we'll do this. Hopefully next time. Hopefully next time we come on here, we can be doing a different project, like the mountain, or oh gosh, the mountain was driving me crazy. Because you gotta do it a certain way. And I'm gonna have to learn that certain way all over again, and it's gonna be interesting. But it's gotta be, it's gotta be done a certain way, and it doesn't work otherwise. Wait, so has that got the walls? Yeah, okay. Anyway, I'm hoping that you cannot hear the gardening equipment. I mean, it's pretty dang loud, but hopefully you can't hear it, and it'll be fine. So I was watching, I was watching more videos. I decided that if Brianna Plays brings out that VR headset, I'm not interested. Well, at least not with that game. She was playing a horrible game. They were at a zoo, and she's the mama gorilla, I guess, and baby monkey's locked in a cage. And I guess the game doesn't explain why baby monkey is locked in a cage, because she didn't explain. I think she actually said, "Why is he in there?" But then she spent the whole entire rest of the video beating up the people that are coming to visit, and how did they get through the bars in the first place? Um, you know, she spent the rest of the video fighting the people who are coming to see them in the zoo. And it's, you're getting instructions from an elephant. Not a whole elephant, the head of an elephant. And so she went and played the game, and it got more and more violent. Like, people were coming to the zoo with axes and guns and knives and all sorts of weird things. It's like, why do you come to the zoo with that kind of stuff? And she didn't think that maybe one of them was trying to break Baby Monkey out. Like, with the axe, you can cut off the lock, you can escape. Well, in theory, you can escape. Anyway, I want to finish this 2 days, so then next time we can do something more interesting. But the problem is that when we're doing something more interesting, sometimes we have to watch somebody else's video. That's the apartments. You have to watch. I have to watch somebody else's video to get how to do it. So, at one point I thought I had it, and I'm not entirely sure. What I ended up doing is building 2 of them, but I never finished the one. So like the framework's there, it just needs to be filled in. So I don't know if that was before or after I started recording, but there was one piece of, there was one piece of this that was missing from one of the areas. And that was annoying because I was like, I thought I got them all. And what?
Board wanna talk.
Well, they did want to talk to Picard that one time. After he wasn't a Borg anymore. I think it was after he wasn't a Borg anymore. So he's playing Star Trek game on Xbox right now. And the Borg want to talk. Which sounds suspicious to me. Unless it's that one Borg guy. I don't remember which show I'm talking about either. But he was kind of like the Clone Wars guys, where some of them defected and didn't want to be part of the war anymore. Okay, that looked awfully weird out of context. It I don't know if they're a singing group or an orchestra or yes, but what caught my eye to begin with was there was, the big concert kind of fire. Yeah, the controlled concert fire. And it just went up and then, went out again. And then I'm looking up and it looks like they're just singing. And then they showed I want to say they're called a conductor. Hey, if you're playing music,
What?
if you're playing music and the person that's going like this, that's the conductor, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remembered it. Yay. Okay. Anyway, the conductor looked like he was, doing some kind of he was conducting them singing or whatever, but the look on his face was like they were doing some kind of evil ritual. Oh my goodness. Okay. When I first looked at that guy, he looked like Robin Williams if he was an older person. Um And, you know, most of us know what happened to Robin Williams, and the others will be very happy to not know. But anyway, it looked like a Robin Williams person. But if you look at, if you actually look at him, he doesn't really look like, he doesn't really look like him. So far, this guy's not blowing up my skirt. Not that I'm not wearing a skirt, I'm wearing pants, but anyway, I guess I'll have fun when I can actually hear it. Yeah. Okay. So that looks done. And, well, maybe we had to go to the end just to make sure. And it'll make for better content, I think, because we'll be like going and around. I'm almost thinking that those guys are the guys for the gardening company. I think they're like making it sound like they're doing something, and maybe they're not doing as much as, like it just seems like maybe they're not doing as much as they're making it sound like they are. Okay, so this is the ground floor. Well then, duh, it was done. Yeah, it's ground floor. Okay. So, we need to go up in the elevator to the second floor where I thought we were. Ah, okay. Now, these are all done, but you run into a small problem. I think you run into a small problem. See, all of this on this side is done. But see, you run into the small problem of this is the hallway. So technically, that room right here shouldn't be this big. But that's the dining room, and it should be that big. So, I don't know. I think that one's getting deleted, because that's obviously a kid comedian, and that means that there's probably more comedians on there. And I'm just not into the comedians, I'm sorry. Like, especially, I've heard that one 600 times, it seems like. The one where he's going, I've got 7 of their wives and 6 fiancés or something like that. And then somebody apparently in the background was going, oh, wow, wow, like I don't like you. And he just worked that into the act, saying it's nice that they all bought tickets. You know, I didn't think he was funny at all. I think I've actually had the opportunity to see his whole act. I just don't remember it right now. Probably I blocked it out of my mind because I didn't think it was funny, but that's me. So it went from playing Disneyland, which I thought was going to last a lot longer, to so I'm probably going to leave that one in there instead of deleting it because it was so short. Or at least it seems like it was so short. Oh, maybe I went and put it on there before I started streaming. But still, it would have only been like an hour. Anyway, I'll probably leave it in the mix. Like when I'm streaming, I try to keep something playing in the background. So I use the Disneyland videos for that. And they're kind of nice Disneyland videos, except for when he goes and shows us all the stuff in the stores. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that are like, ooh, show us the stuff in the stores, show us the stuff in the stores. And I'm like, I can't afford it. I'm not going to be able to go to Disneyland for a very long time. Please don't show that, because you're just teasing me. But, better to make everybody else happy than, just me. So, definitely not saying take it out completely and never show it again. So, yeah, my husband said maybe I got up to May, but I don't think so because my sister was just having an Easter egg. I mean, my niece was just having an Easter egg hunt. It was really weird though. I don't think they did it on purpose, but the voices, for some reason, they were talking normal, and then all of a sudden it was like they sped up the audio tape, the playing speed. So I don't know if she did it on purpose or not, because she hasn't been answering me quickly lately, and I wasn't even thinking that maybe they weren't even up yet. I mean, they probably were, but I wasn't thinking that maybe they weren't even up yet. There. 'Cause they're 2 hours ahead of us. So I was texting her in the 7 a.m. hour. Oh, but if I go with him, then the stream would be shorter, actually. I think people would be happy with that, because I don't think they like the big old long videos. I don't know, but I really don't think people like the big old long videos from me. Unless it's Minecraft. Yeah. So all 3 stores should be open by now.
Yeah. You're in the middle of stuff, so.
Okay. This is driving me crazy. Yeah, I think I got all the hallways. I just need to get the. Yeah, I think I got all the hallways. I just need to get the. I think I got all the hallways. I just need to get the rest of it. And there goes the spammers. Spammer scammers. It keeps saying arm, like Amagosa, something like that. And I'm like, I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody there. I don't know why anybody would be calling me. The other day somebody called me from like a radio station, but they didn't like actually answer the phone. I mean, they didn't like talk to me or anything. So I thought that was a little weird. And I'm just thinking about something. Okay, like if satellite radio um has their radio station, which they do. And why the heck did I do that? Um, do they do, guess the song before it plays? Or, guess what donut I'm eating or something like that? Do they do giveaways? Or is that the whole thing about satellite radio? Is that it's supposed to be music, 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 music? And, for some reason, um, several years ago, we didn't live up here yet, so it was probably like 2009. No, wait. Maybe we did live here. I don't know. I think we did live here, actually. Um, Now that I think about it. Because I don't remember. Um, oh, yeah, because it was when our car broke. He was going up there, but he was going up to Tahoe to work at Ross Dress for Less. But his particular store was Ross Mess for Less. People were so rude. They would just go into the store and they knew that he had just been working on the shoes, and my husband would get yelled at because, didn't you just do these shoes? He started taking pictures. It's like, yeah, I did. And he would go to lunch and somebody would and this wasn't just kids. You know how kids, they go and put their arm out. I mean, and yeah, they put their arm out and they go and knock stuff off the shelf just to be knocking stuff off the shelf because, kids are jerks sometimes. Yeah, it would be grown-ups, adults actually doing this. And, or like they'd try on the shoe and they would try on a pair of shoes and just leave it on the floor. And my husband was getting yelled at for that stuff. So anyway, we finally came over here and eventually we started working at we were working in small jobs where you don't necessarily work every day of the week, but it was making enough to pay the rent, so it was good. But anyway, we finally landed at that W store, and that's when we made the most money that we've ever made in our lives, and it was nice. Except for getting yelled at every 5 seconds because this manager over here said, state your register make sure the candy bars are safe to eat. And no, actually, I think I implemented that myself. Um, they didn't want me figuring out if the candy bars were safe to eat. Actually, they just wanted me to sell it to the customer, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. There was actually a customer that candy bar was a month old, and I'm like, do you want me to find you a new one? And they ended up not buying it because I found so many that were out of date, it wasn't even funny. Or the one customer ended up buying it anyway. It was just like a couple of days out of date. I was like, okay. Like, that's your decision. Don't come crying to the store when you get sick. I mean, if it's a couple of days out of date, that's fine. But if it's like a whole month, ew. I would love to have a job where I go into all the different kinds of stores. And that is my sole purpose, is checking the dates on everything. And the problem is that the store has to take a loss on those food items, and W Store doesn't seem to care. W Store just does not seem to care. But, like, not just on, I wouldn't want to just do it on the front register candy. I would want to do it, for the whole food set. Because uh, sometimes you get that stalker and stalker in this case means Stocker. There you go. There you go. Person who stocks the shelves. Puts the product on the shelf. There you go. Like in school, they teach you. I mean, they attempt to teach you. They don't even like give you an example. They say like they say try to explain I don't know, like try to explain playful without using the word play, because that's the only thing that's coming into my mind right now. And you could use the word silly, but they don't explain like what they're looking for. So you get to high school and you think you got a pretty good vocabulary, and the teacher made me cry because she's like you're getting so much better at this, and I'm like, I thought I was good at it to begin with. Because she was teaching us big words like feigned instead of pretended. Or impaled instead of stabbed with an icicle. But impaled, it's like, grown-ups understand that. The kids won't. But yeah, I think some kids do. And whoever came up with that probably didn't like Olaf in the first place. Anyway. I don't know what. Well, actually, I find Olaf kind of annoying. But it's okay. Just kind of annoying. Not like not like I will never watch that movie again. Annoying, just a little. Cuz I mean, the only reason why I would stop watching that movie is because Anna did my cat Ben dirty. She went for Kristoff. I knew she was gonna do it. Don't worry. Um, you know, she went for Kristoff instead of Ben. Ben had a big crush on her. You know, and then they came up with Frozen 2, and she definitely went with Kristoff instead of Ben. So he's offended. He used to come and sit in my lap every time we'd watch it. Every he'd hear Frozen Heart and he'd come running and sit on my lap and watch the movie with me, or fall asleep. But yeah, he liked that movie until I almost want somebody to take AI, or if 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 it's Disney, um I kind of want to have somebody come up with a different scenario, so y- a separate copy just for Ben, so he can have the girl that he had the crush on in the movie instead. But then she'd have to turn into a cat, or he'd have to turn into a person. And then all of a sudden it would be kind of a Shrek thing. See? And then I missed this one. Anyway, it would kind of be a Shrek thing, and wasn't Captain Janeway
What?
wasn't Captain Janeway Fiona? The voice. Yeah, but it's a yes or no answer. Um 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 Shrek.
I think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know.
I think the lady who played Captain Janeway on Star Trek Voyager, and the one that played that the one that did Fiona's voice on Shrek was the same person. But I wouldn't have gone with that. I really wouldn't have gone with that. I mean, like, I would have, like, had a separate voice for, I don't know, I think I would have had a separate voice for Fiona and her as a, ogre. But I don't remember what her voice, I remember what her voice sounded like when it was Captain Janeway. I don't remember her voice as Fiona. So, maybe it may be totally pleasing and it may not. So, maybe one of those voices that you're like, oh yeah, that sounds good. You know, they should totally go with it. And then, it could be one of those that you're like, what were they thinking? I just don't remember. Because I don't really like the Shrek movies. It's not one that, I'll walk out of the room because I'm like, disgusted it's on. It's just, I don't really like them. Although there's some elements on Disney movies where I'm like, what the... And who made the decision that, like, every supposedly children's movie is a Disney movie? Um, that bugs me. Because there's people out there that are like, oh, that's a children's movie, it's a Disney, and it's Shrek. It's like, first of all, I don't think Shrek is a children's movie. It's not a movie that children cannot watch. It's just, I don't see it as a children's movie. I see it as an animated movie for adults. Like Futurama. I never watched Futurama. I don't know, but I think it's one of those that's more geared toward adults. I think SpongeBob is more geared toward adults. I tried to watch SpongeBob when my kids were little because my parents thought it was a good show for them to watch. No. I'm like trying to show them Disney movies. I'm trying to show them um Veggie Tales. Um um yeah, Dora, Diego, Dora the Explorer, and I think her cousin's show. He was Diego, but I think the show was Diego. I don't remember. Um, like Thomas the Tank Engine. Well, we didn't really get into Thomas the Tank Engine until our son was born, but Thomas the Tank Engine. Backyardigans. I bet you nobody remembers that one, but that was a show when my daughter was little. I thought it was cute. They would use their imagination, and then all of a sudden they're like on a pirate ship. They've got like dress up clothes, to make them be on the pirate ship, and so they're on the pirate ship, and but instead of like having a cardboard box, they used their imagination. So it was fun. I liked it. And I didn't have to worry about it sending weird messages to my kids. So we had like all of those different kinds of DVDs. And then we got to the point where, okay, we had a whole bunch of Dora DVDs. We had a couple of Diego ones. I'm pretty sure we had a couple of Backyardigans. And I think we gave them all away. Or we sent them with our daughter, and then they went poof, disappear. Um, yeah. Um, part part of that was we had some audio tapes on CD. Um, the we had them on tape too, but those were in storage. Anyway, we had like Tarzan and Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella probably. I don't remember Cinderella being on there. Um, I know that I had Cinderella. I just don't remember if I had it on CD or not. And Snow White and a whole bunch of them. I would like to have some money to be able to get those back again because I liked listening to those. Even being the age that I am, I liked listening to those. Um, the only one I could. Oh, Lion King. We had Lion King. And, there's just a whole bunch of them. And the only one I have now is the Disneyland sing along, or excuse me, the Disney Parks sing along, because it has the Country Bear Vacation Hoedown or Jamboree or whatever you call it from Disney World, which is not what I wanted. It has A Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. It has Grim Grinning Ghosts. All that neat stuff. You go to Disneyland and you have to ride that ride, and it has that music in it. Because what would the Haunted Mansion be without the music? It'd be hardly anything. Actually, I've I've been in the Haunted Mansion when the ride was stopped and playful spooks have interrupted our tour. Please stay seated in your doom buggy. I can't remember uh, the exact quote after that, but it's like, wait until the ride continues. Um, I was watching a video from Fresh Baked. I want to say day before yesterday. It might have been yesterday actually, but anyway, one of those two. And he was in Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, I think. Yeah, because Roger Rabbit wasn't working. So, yeah, I think it was Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And it was so broken. It had just opened up again. It was so broken that they had to be walked off the ride. And he was polite enough to not record it. I remember the one time, though, that, uh, what was it? I think it was Haunted Mansion. Um, Chris from Park Pass, uh, I, he was riding it with a friend. I don't remember what friend, though. Um, I don't know. I'm thinking it was Adam the Woo, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Because that was before I knew about him. I actually, uh, I learned about Adam the Woo from a video, and I, and then when I saw another video, I thought that was so stupid and rude. Anyway, so, they were on the Pixar Pal Around, Ferris wheel. and the the one side is stationary seating. The car does not moving anywhere. Now, on the other side, they move. And if you rock good enough, it'll go, um, it'll go like vertical or something. I don't exactly know what vertical means. I, I was listening in school. I really was. And I had it down for a few days, where like vertical and horizontal, and one of them's up and down, and one of them's left to right. But what I'm meaning is that you could be like in the car and uh like literally staring at the ground. Um anyway, Chris wanted to get it rocking very well, and so like Chris was on I want to say Chris was on one side and Adam was on the other, and they got it rocking. And David from Fresh Baked was like, "Oh heck no, don't do that!" He's afraid of heights, it turns out, but he goes up in the Pixar Pal around so he can see the construction work. When they're doing a new ride or pulling down a restaurant or something like that. Okay, so we need to get these walls in. That's ridiculous. So, about this time next week, actually, it's going to be before that, because I have to go pick him up first. Father-in-law does have an appointment on the 17th, so I will not be streaming until later in the day. One time they were trying to get me to, because there was only like an hour until I needed to come pick him up anyway. And I'm like, I'm hungry. Well, they don't understand that I don't really like being at their house because the TV is so loud. It's not even funny. It's not that loud. Oh, she said they're broken again. I'll tell him later. So he's playing a game that talks, and he's listening with this headset, and that's all he can hear. So I'm trying not to get upset, but I am. Anyway, my mother-in-law has hearing aids, and she says they're not working. Well, yeah, that's because when she puts them away, she doesn't turn them off. So then she thinks she's turning them on, and she puts them in her ears, and she can't hear. Gee, I wonder why you wouldn't be able to hear with your hearing aids off. Like I keep trying to explain to her that he said that if they're making the weird Star Trek noises, that means that they're on. They should never be making that noise when they're off. But she thinks that it's because they're too close together. She's not listening. Anyway. Anyway. So, yeah, like I said, I want to get this done. And as you see, it is getting there. But I want to get this done, and then I want to start working on those apartments because I think that will look really nice over there. You know, that's a thing that I was just thinking of because I saw, part of a, I would say, clip from Family Feud. It was only like, maybe 2 minutes or something like that. Anyway, it was something where they must have been asking for, greatest country singers of all times or something like that because um I saw Dolly Parton's name up there. So I'm just assuming that that's what they're talking about. But um yeah, I was thinking I was thinking Blake Shelton and Garth Brooks and Luke Bryan. Is it Brian or Bryant? Anyway, either way. Um I will probably look him up later and see, okay, it's that, and try to remember. I just know he's on The Voice with Carrie Underwood and Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie, if I remember correctly, was good for um, some really good songs, but I want to say that, he had some love ballads in there. I don't know, but I want to say. So I might be wrong. But anyway, he had some good songs. And of course, Carrie Underwood has some good songs, and Luke does too. Um, I really want to know, how do you get so famous that you're known as Carrie Underwood instead of just Carrie? It's like I think that drives people. People are suddenly famous. I think that's one of the things that drives them nuts the most is they're not just Carrie anymore. They're Carrie Underwood. You know, when they're talking to her on the show, and she's just Carrie, but like other times she could be Carrie Underwood. You know, you go to you go to that awards thing, and she's Carrie Underwood, not just Carrie. Although with is it Grammys? I think it's Grammys. With Grammys, it's it's like there could be two different Carries, or there could be two different Katies. Because one of the that's a weird looking starship. Um, I don't know. It looks like something. Uh, it looks like they mixed up a Star Trek ship and a Star Wars ship. I may be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me. Uh, what was I? What was I just talking about? I have no idea. Um. Oh, on Jeopardy, there's a question, and I know it's Katie, but I can never remember if it's Katy Perry or if it's the other Katie that's on there. I think the question is, um, this person changed her name because it sounded too much like the other person, and I can never remember if it's Katy Perry or if it's the other one. I keep wanting to say Katie Upton, but I don't think that's it. But anyway, I know the names, and the first name's Katie or Kate. Um, oh, maybe that's what it was. It's Kate Upton question mark and Kate Hudson. I think that's what it is. So maybe Katy Perry has nothing to do with it. Anyway, it's something like that. It's a famous person with Kate in their name, and I can never remember if it's one or the other. So then when I get it right, I'm like, yeah! But does it get committed to memory? Not necessarily. I mean, it's in my memory, but I mean, it really is. Because sometimes I'm just like, I'm on it and I'm like, boom, 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 yeah. But then sometimes I'm just like, nope, can't do it. So I guess the wrong one, and it doesn't happen very often anymore, but like the part of my brain that's saying you need to win is is trying to remember for me. Because I don't like losing any more than anybody else does, so. I was just kind of thinking that I might get more story done. Might. Notice why I said might. I might get more story done if I, recorded everything that I need to do for the rest of the year. I know, it seems ridiculous. Because that's okay, August, September, October, November, December. That's 5 months. Anyway, if I recorded everything that I needed to do for the rest of the year, and then just on stream days, which is every day, but on stream days maybe stream just this or just stream Lake Valley or whatever. Speaking of that, I cannot wait until the day after tomorrow, because that's Wednesday, and I could do something something that I actually need to do instead of something that I want to do. And I know that seems like a counterproductive thing a little bit. But sometimes I don't want to record because it's not something that really has a purpose. I mean, it has a purpose, but it doesn't need to be done. It doesn't need to be done in a certain time frame. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't need to be done in a certain time frame, so I could do it any time, but I'm trying to get it done now, so well, that works, but dang, so I was missing 3. I was missing 2 uprights and then a cross. That was an cross. Just in case you didn't hear it quite right. So I felt like I said it a little too fast. That was something yesterday. I swear my son was doing this on. It seemed like he was doing this on purpose. I hope not, but he asked me a question and I explained it, but I explained it a little awkwardly. So then I was trying to explain it better, and he still wasn't understanding. So I don't know if he's like coming down with something, or if he, or if I was just talking too fast, or what. I don't usually talk too fast anymore, I've noticed. So I think I'm going to break down and actually take my allergy pill sometime today. But the problem is, if I take my allergy pill at a certain time, I may be asleep when I need to go pick up my father-in-law. And I don't know if my husband's going to be like, oh, yeah, I'll go get him, because my allergy pill makes me sleep if I haven't had it in a really long time. It's one of those that you take, like every 6 hours or something like that. It was ridiculous. So I stopped taking it because I thought it wasn't working quite right, and I don't know. Oh, okay. Okay, then let's do the 2 floors, and we'll do the 2 floors, and then we'll go down 1 floor so we can um, get the rest of that done. I don't know why, but it's a lot easier to do the the lights and then the floor going from bottom to top instead of the way that I'm doing it right now. Okay. Now, put in walls. And then we'll go down the 1 floor and get that figured out. And down the 1 more floor. Oh, no, we don't need to go down 1 more floor to get the wall figured out. Oh, that's what we needed to do. Okay, we need to get the inside walls done. Yeah, that would help, huh? Before we, paint me in a corner, basically. So that doesn't make any sense, paint you in a corner, because usually you don't paint the floor. That is something that does happen on cartoon shows sometimes, though. Like, I want to say on some kind of Looney Tunes show that they had, for some reason, they were painting the floor, and the person had to go to the bathroom, and they were like, if you can call cartoon animals a person. But anyway, they needed to go to the bathroom, and they were like, I'll just do it after I finish painting the floor. And then they couldn't get to the floor. They couldn't get to the bathroom because the floor is still wet. So, and if if I'm remembering it correctly, like I may be doing. It was probably that thing where they ended up walking over it and having to do it over again. Okay. Now we've missed 3 uprights. Dang. Okay. Now we've missed 3 uprights and 1 left or right. Oh, it's him! Joe. There you go. On Star Trek Voyager, they had a hologram as a doctor, and I don't get it because he was like able to be solid when he needed to be a doctor, and then like if the bad guy was trying to hurt him, trying to punch him or something, or I think it was um oh, Harris was his last name, but I can't think of his rank. Lieutenant Paris? I don't know. Anyway, he was like trying to punch him, or maybe Paris's friend. Um, During the first episode, he goes, "Oh, the guy's name is Harry." Um, oh, okay. It was Tom Paris and Harry something. Um, Harry. Before somebody makes a joke. um. Anyway, during the first episode, Tom didn't have any friends. He was just, Mr. Attitude all the time. And Harry called himself Tom's friend. And I think Tom, tried to give him attitude about it, and he goes, "I'm the only one you have." If I remember correctly, so. This is really cool, because we're, like, almost done. I think. Wait, are we almost done? Okay, never mind. We're more in the almost started phase. Feels like we're almost done, though, because all we need to do is put in the walls and we're good. Oh, no. There's still some floors and lights that we need to put in, huh? Yep. Never mind. I'm trying to convince myself that we're almost done. Then. Yeah, we'll word it that way. I'm trying to convince myself that we're almost done. Yeah, so yesterday my husband wasn't feeling good, and today he wasn't feeling good either, so I'm probably going to end up driving us to the store and getting what he needs to feel better. So in their family, they usually get, Sprite or 7 Up, some kind of lemon lime. I personally think it does not work so well when it's lime lemon. So like the the off brands where it's not lemon lime, it's lime lemon. I don't think that works very well. But there was one off brand, I don't remember what it was though, where it was lemon lime and it was good. And it wasn't Shasta. Shasta was good, but it wasn't Shasta because it was a 2 liter bottle at Walmart. No, Walmart, at Dollar Tree. I don't know, somewhere. Some store that we used to shop at. Okay, I do not answer calls if they just say a phone number. I do not answer calls usually if it says private number. And the lady said that if she was going to call back, if she was going to call back, she was going to call back with the number from the store, and it was going to say Dollar Tree. And I like really wanted to explain to her that the only calls that I had ever gotten from anybody said private number. In November, so yeah, apparently I could have had the job, but now she's like trying to get people that, because I applied to the store before it was even open, so that should have said to them, oh yeah, she wants to work there. Um, and I've been so busy that I don't know. I think I want to put in another application. And then if that's what I get again, because I was told by like the assistant manager or whatever she is, that there's a possibility that the reason why I didn't get hired is because of the fact that she's looking for Hispanic people, which America says you cannot do. And there are not any Hispanic customers that we've ever seen in that store at Dollar Tree. So, I've seen white people, I've seen black people, I've seen, yeah, I think I've mainly seen white people and black people. The Hispanic people that we've seen, or possibly American Indian, is at the Top Ceiling store. And we've mostly seen white and black people at the other store. We've got like 4 different Dollar Tree stores. Yeah, we do have 4 different Dollar Tree stores. There's one up by the welfare office in Carson, so like basically way up the street from us. And then we have one across basically across the street at the mall. And then there's one on Top Ceiling over by the other Walmart. And then there's the one close to Gold Dust West and And Gold Dust West is a hotel casino. They got casino stuff in Gold Dust West, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I was remembering right. Yeah, so they're a hotel casino. They got a really nice bowling alley, too. And I mentioned that because my ball never got stuck in theirs. But the other bowling alley that we have, it always got stuck. Like, this is my own personal bowling ball. It's stuck. I need help, please. I don't think I ever said that it was my own personal. Maybe I did. But I don't think I actually said that it was my personal bowling ball. Like, that specific wording. But yeah, I had my own bowling ball. I had a bowling ball bag and everything. It was pretty dang awesome. Too bad I couldn't have acquired that at the time that I was going to college. I decided I didn't really much like going to college there because I was trying to pass English, but apparently I didn't do very well. And I took piano because I wanted to take piano. And then, I just wasn't ready to go to college yet. But I took piano because I've always wanted to play piano. But the thing is that the college class was like, you've been playing piano all your life, and we're just going to help you fine tune your technique. They weren't ready for a noob. So I didn't pass that class, and I didn't pass English, but I did pass bowling. Messed up my wrist permanently in the process, but anyway. Anyway, so I can't wait to work on my story later, and maybe get some. I was doing pretty good yesterday, playing Dreamlight Valley and working on my story. Like, I would feel like the story was calling to me and work on it for a little bit, and then do something on Dreamlight Valley, and I was feeling like I was, getting both accomplished at the same time. But it's like when I'm just trying to work on my story, then the Xbox is saying, "Hey, what about me?" And yeah. So then I turn that on, and I can do this and the story at the same time. It just doesn't usually work. Oh, nobody's chatting with me. Okay. Wow, it feels like I just woke up and it's 10 o'clock already. Wow. Um, oh, my sister saw an American bald eagle yesterday. And, um, and that's something that I don't like with, um, Adam's Family Values. That's what it is. Adam's Family Values with Raul Julia and, Angelica Houston and, um, Christina Ricci and some other people. I know there's other people that I know their names, but um anyway, um Anyway, so in there they are doing archery, and um his last name is Glicker, but I can't think of his first name. That's the character. Um, yeah, like I said, I can't remember his name. But anyway, um, he doesn't even bother to try. He just goes and, he was trying to figure out how to do it, but this was a camp where like the people had been doing it for so long that they forgot that maybe somebody doesn't know archery. So anyway, he just goes and throws the arrow in the ground, and then, if I remember correctly, it's Pugsley's turn, and he misfired and hit an American bald eagle, and someone goes, "Aren't they extinct?" Well, apparently not. Endangered, probably yes, but I don't know if they're still endangered, but endangered, yes. Um, Not with us at all, like the dodo, no. And I know that for a fact because of the fact that one of them was having a hard time. It was a windy Sunday. We were trying to go to church, and just everything seemed to be going wrong that day. And then all of a sudden, there's this American bald eagle, and he almost hit our truck. That was back when we had the white truck. And anyway, the poor thing almost hit our truck, and I figured it was like God saying, "I'm still here. It's okay. Try to calm down." You know. And it was like the most amazing thing because the little guy was having a hard time flying for some reason. Oh yeah, it was a windy day. He was having a hard time flying, and he almost crashed into our truck, but then he was fine. Yeah. He just picked the wrong time to fly somewhere. And I was like, wow. Because I'd never seen an American bald eagle, that close before. It's one of those things where I wish I had a picture or a video. I like taking videos because then it feels real. In a picture, it kind of feels like you could have done that in Photoshop or something like that. But if it's a video, I know people can mess with those too. But right, right. Alright, I know people can mess with those too now, but I don't know how to do that, so it feels more real. So like when the deer come, I try to take videos. Well, it's that, and I do it for content. I mean, I like the videos. I love those videos. But I take them for content. I don't have anywhere to store the videos, so yeah, I go and try to make as funny content videos with the deer as I can, and if I ever find that skunk, I will get him or her on video as well. I just smelled him. That was the thing. Somebody must have made him upset because it smelled like skunk. Um, uh, unlike the I mean YouTube, Looney Tunes videos, where they show Pepe Le Pew and he's always smelling. Um, I have heard that they only do that if they're being challenged by another animal or they're scared or something. So since that is true, um, hopefully I'll be able to get the video one of these days. I'd like to go to, except for that, I don't think I can handle that anymore. I would like to go to Point Reyes and just walk around and see what animals are there. Because, there's like supposed to be, um, there's a bunch of campsites there, for one. But for two, there's like supposed to be bobcats and deer. I've seen the deer. There's definitely skunks. That probably wasn't a good idea. There we go. There's definitely skunks. I want to say, there was a mention of bears. So like, put your camping backpack on the hook. Um, put your camping backpack on the hook because they're not supposed to be able to reach it. But I've seen bears go up on their hind legs. So what are you talking about? Or like take your backpack into the tent with you, kind of thing. But yeah, there's supposed to be like wildcats, and there's supposed to be all sorts of neat animals there, and we've seen some. That was the fun part of camping. I'm just one of those people that needs their devices with them. So I'm not saying I'm like, can't do without them, but I really can't, on the other hand. Because, like, sometimes you get a great story idea and you can't write it down on paper because, you can't read your own handwriting because you haven't really written in that long. But I couldn't read my handwriting when I was writing, like, every day. So, anyway, I couldn't really read my own handwriting. I had to ask my husband, do you got any idea what I wrote here? It was horrible. I love my computer. I'm not saying I would like take a laptop with me though. Um, I would take, like a tablet or, um, you know, a tablet is an Android iPad. That's how I'm explaining it. Because some people just don't know. I know a lot of you are probably like, duh. But then on the other hand, like you ask my mom, she may not know. My dad had to explain it to her. Because she thought that they were all iPad because my dad used to work for Apple computers. Um, he was actually the tech guy that, if the first level didn't understand how to fix it, my dad was called. Or I think that's how it went anyway. He explained it as he's the tech guy that the techie calls. So anyway, usually they were able to get it fixed pretty. I mean, uh, they were able to get it fixed, not like a band-aid thing. But they were able to get it fixed, and it was good. Oh, hey. But, occasionally they would get that person that my coffee holder won't come out on my computer. And they're like, "What do you mean your coffee holder?" And it turns out that they were using the CD drive as a coffee cup holder. And so they had to be explained that that is not a coffee cup holder, that is a CD-ROM drive. Or a DVD-ROM drive. Okay. Or like, my computer isn't working. I've got a very big project to do. And somebody finally got the idea to ask, is the electricity off? Yeah. Oh, well, your computer's not going to work until it's back on again. I don't remember where I got that one, but that actually happened to somebody. It's like they're sitting there like pretty much in the dark. The electricity's off, and they just didn't understand that the computer wasn't gonna. I mean, at that point, they didn't understand that the computer can't work without electricity, which kind of, makes me mad with a laptop or even a tablet because, like, 95% of the time when it needs to shut down because it needs to be charged, you're not done yet. So I get frustrated and yeah. Okay, actually what we ought to do is put the lights in first. So, I don't know. I'm like, so, I don't know. I'm just trying to like fill in all the silence and nothing's coming to mind. Except for now Disney songs. Um, There's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow is the one that popped in my head, and I'm like, I've never been on that ride. That was the one for you that were born before the year 2000. Actually, it might have been. I, I was thinking that it wasn't there in 2000, but it must have been because it was like 2002, 2003, something like that. When um when I was watching that commercial, they used to have something called innovations, one of those words. Um, yeah, one of those words. Anyway, at Disneyland, and I used to know that answer. Um, anyway, And or I kept calling it one thing, and then they called it another thing on the thing that I was watching, and I was like, oh, okay. Been calling it the wrong thing this whole time. But anyway, it was still the one where you walked into the building and there was Tom Morrow 2.0. Um, and I don't know what happened. Like, I think they took it out. I'm not entirely sure, but I think they took it out. And it was in the Carousel of Progress, I want to say. And I want to say there was a ride element to it, but you had to walk a certain amount and then there was the ride. I don't know. They explained it on, like a Disney special. But Tom Morrow 2.0 was like a big thing for the longest time, and Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow was part of that in Disneyland at that time. But I think that song is actually older than that and was like part of Figment in Disney World or something like that. I don't know. I don't exactly remember, but I did think it was pretty dang cool. I mean, it's a nice song. It like makes you be filled with hope and stuff. Hope and happiness. Of course, some of the other songs. Uh, I've got a DVD that's a Disneyland sing along, and um, and there's one where they're um, something about taking pictures. Um, oh, I can't remember. I haven't watched that in a really long time. So, something about taking pictures. And, oh, making memories. Yeah, all of a sudden I remember making memories. I can't remember. Unless it's called Making Memories. I can't remember the name of the song, but at least I remember part of it. But I like that song too. It kind of makes me happy, and even though like I'm usually behind the camera, so I'm like not in the thing. And I was so trying to get. I was like in my early 20s when we went to Disneyland last. So about 28 years ago, or 26 years ago, something like that. Um, I don't remember how old I was. Well, okay, so it was 2000. So I was 22. Yeah. So I was 22, and we went to Disneyland, and I wanted a boyfriend so bad that I'm like sitting there on that car in Toontown, and I'm, uh, I was sitting just so to try to attract a boyfriend, but I'm like not getting any kind of boyfriend at all. Not even one guy looked at me. It was okay though, because it's like, I lived in Northern California, and Anaheim, where Disneyland is definitely in Southern California, so that would have been a really big long distance relationship. But, like I'd been watching too many movies probably because in Dirty Dancing, Frances, I know you're gonna say that her name's Baby, but Frances goes to she was named after the Speaker of the House, she said. Um, Frances goes to the country club with her family, to relax, and she meets Johnny, and she's got a big old crush on Johnny, and then she agrees to learn how to dance those dances so the other girl can go see the doctor. I'm gonna leave it at that. Um, anyway, so the other girl can go see the doctor. And that's a whole big drama right there, but that's not the point here. We're not going there. Um, and of course they fall in love, and then they have the big scene at the end where they're all dancing and everybody's happy, and the owner of the country club finally gets it. He's like, this is pretty good music. This is gonna get, he's also thinking this can get butts in the seats. Uh, I mean, people to come visit because they were doing like the foxtrot and um the waltz. Some of those really old dances that teenagers in the 60s did not want to be doing. They wanted to be doing something like Elvis Presley kind of dancing. Or Anne Margaret. She was the love interest in Viva Las Vegas. I think her name was Rusty in the movie. But I didn't know that was Anne Margaret until I was like looking at her in. We finally tried to watch Grumpy Old Men. I decided it wasn't for me. But anyway, they're arguing over the same girl, and one of them is the one that plays Mr. Wilson in the Dennis the Menace movie. And oh, I missed a hall. Okay. Anyway, his last name is Matheson or Matthewson or something like that. I think Matheson. But I can't think of his first name. I'm gonna call him Jerry or Walter or something like that, but I have no idea. But anyway, they were fighting over, and I'm like, who is that? And I finally remembered that that is the same lady that is in the Santa Claus 3. And then I'm like, I decided to look her up on the internet to see what else she's been in, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's Miss Viva Las Vegas. And it's like, wow. I like to do that sometimes where I try to look up people and find out what other movies I've been in. And the weird thing is that if you look up the surfer dude on the movie Earth Girls Are Easy, you will find out that that is also Mr. Green on the movie Clue. Two totally different roles, and he did really good. And then it just didn't have any information on him at all after that. Thought that was a little odd. Like he just quit acting after that. But maybe something happened, and it didn't say one way or the other what happened. Or I just didn't look more into it. I look on IMBD, I think it is. If not, rearrange. I know it's IM, but it's either BD or DB. I think it's BD. Anyway, and they seem to be the most reliable, but they did get something wrong. They said something like, I think they said something like the movie Grease came out in 1979. And the problem is that it came out in 1978. Same year I did. And yeah, I wanted to go and tell them about it, and there's just no way to do it. I'm not sure that that's what it was. It might have been something like the pirate movie came out in 1981 instead of 1982. Something like that. But I think it was Grease. Anyway, it's like I know for a fact that this movie came out this year because so did I. If it was Grease. And then if it was, or it might have been something that came out in 1979. I don't remember. But like I said, I think it was like they said it was 1979 and it's 1978. If you're going to do stuff like that, you ought to put it on there, you ought to make sure that what you're putting on there is the truth. Instead of the method like noodles where you're trying to test if it's right, and some people throw it against the wall and hope it sticks, and then if it does, it's done. Something like that. I've never done that before. I've always tasted it, and if it tasted like it wasn't done yet, then it's not done yet. I've had some that tasted like they were still fresh out of the box, and then I've had some others that were like nice and ready to go. In fact, I think one time when we lived in Tahoe, we were having family over, and I don't like calling them relatives. That just doesn't sound right. Um, okay, ever since Steve Martin made Father of the Bride 2. Was it 2? Yeah. Yeah, I think it's got to be 2. Um, anyway, ever since he made Father Father of the Bride 2 and said something about will become a name on a Christmas card, those relatives out in California. Ever since he said that, I don't like to say the word relatives. It just doesn't sound right. It's all his fault. Or all the writer's fault, depending. If it was like in the script the whole time, and if it was in the script the whole time and he just said it, that's one thing. But if he like made it up off the top of his head, then it's all his fault. I don't know if I would want to, like if I would want to say that and then, like all of a sudden, um, he books, um, I mean, he gets booked at the Nugget as a comedy act, and somehow we get to go. I don't know if I'd want to say that to his face. I probably would not, because it just sounds rude. It's all your fault. I can't say relatives anymore. But like I said, I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't say it because I don't know if he said it or if it was. I mean, I know he said it, but I don't know if he orchestrated it or if it was one of those things where it was in the script and that's what he's supposed to say. Because you see the behind the scenes footage sometimes, and you find out that the line was totally ad-libbed or they changed something, and that's something that really bugs me, is that the words in the movie are this and the subtitles are saying what's in the script, you know. So you might have um so you might have like the scene in Frozen where she's saying, "The sky is awake, so I'm awake, so I have to play." That's what she says. Maybe it just said, "I've got to play because, it's morning." But what she said sounded a whole lot better. So, it could be something like that. Or I'm pretty sure a few of the things on Full House, it was supposed to be said one way and was said a totally different way. Like, like when they were trying to figure out Danny, they were recording, and the guy who plays Cosmo Cola on Stepsister from Planet Weird was considered as Danny Tanner. And I think he would have done pretty good. And the weird thing, the weird thing is that they went and had a scene in there. Okay. Anyway, they had a scene in there with him where it was um DJ saying, DJ saying, "Yeah, I came back because of family." But also, it was a big rat in the basement. She said something like that, and it's like, that was totally cut out from the one with Bob Saget in it. Why? Probably because the rest of the episode, nobody did anything about the rat. But when it was the ferret, they did something. So, or like they probably didn't want to end it on a bad note where Danny therefore has to go and capture the rat, and I think the only kind of rat traps we had in the 80s were the kind where you put the cheese on it and it flips over and unalives the poor rat. The poor rat is just, trying to live, and, you know, the only reason why he goes in your house is because he thinks he's going to get food, and it's not really his fault that he carries weird diseases. He's never been to the kitty doctor and gotten his distemper shot and all those different shots that you're supposed to get, because he's an outdoor rat that just happened to come indoors. I don't know. I think of the weirdest stuff. I really do. I think of the weirdest stuff. Okay. So I'm gonna say this now because I just feel like saying it now. I write books, and they are available on Amazon in hardback, paperback, and ebook. They ship everywhere that Amazon ships to, and they're available for free shipping on orders of $25 or more. A lot of my hardback books qualify automatically because they are $25 or more. But that's actually kind of a discount because when we were buying Harry Potter books, the we either bought 6 or 7. Can't remember their titles right now. But we either bought book 6 or book 7, and it ended up that it was $35, and that was on discount because the bookstore was closing. That sucked. Because there's people that actually live there, and they're like, tourists aren't coming. I think like tourists weren't coming, so they weren't making very much money, and so he ended up moving to Hawaii, which is also an expensive place. But he had a girlfriend, and he ended up moving to Hawaii. He was our fencing instructor, and then we didn't get to do fencing anymore because he wasn't there. And we moved. He moved first, and then we moved in 2009. I don't know why, but I always remember it was July 20th, 2009. And so I hope if Family Feud is still a thing and me and my sister ever get to go on it, because it's going to be me and my sister and 3 others. Still haven't figured out who those 3 others are because my husband doesn't really like game shows. I don't think my brother-in-law does. My nephew could probably be on there. My sister's son. Well, technically my brother-in-law's son. But she calls him my son. But he's got a different mom than my niece, and who's the daughter of my sister, so. But that's not the point here. So anyway, I got 3 people, but who would the other 2 people be? I don't know. I don't know if my son would want to be on there, and I know my daughter would probably want to be on there, but she's going to have to take time off of work, so yeah, I just don't know. Well, I mean, like, if my husband and her husband, if my husband and brother-in-law were going to be with us, then they'd have to take time off work too, so. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could. I mean, I don't think they're that into game shows, but I guess I could go, hey, mom, dad, do you want to come? 'Cause they're retired. Oh, but they have to take care of grandma, so we'd have to make sure that it was not trying to jinx her or anything, but after grandma's not there. Not have to take care of grandma. Have to makes it sound like they've got no other choice. So, but no, it's not that. I mean, that's the reason why they have her, but they're happy to have her there. And I hope grandma is making sure mom goes to church. And I hope grandma's still in good health. And that they can, I don't remember what the thing is with my Aunt Vicky, but she has, if I remember correctly, she's got something going on with her that they couldn't figure out. That's not good when you stump the tech when it's a medical thing. Um, well, when it's anything, but like usually with the computer, you can go and find somebody that knows what's going on with that dang computer, and you can get it taken care of. But in this case, they can't seem to figure it out. She's got like stuff that isn't connecting. Like if it's this and this, it's definitely this, and if it's this and this, it's definitely this. But she's got like this and that, and something like that. Anyway, she needs prayers. So anyway, as I was saying, for hardback, Pirate's Daughter, Misfortune, Hard Times are $26 each. Esperanza's Party is $24. The Island is $25. Ask me how that happened because I had my thumb on the thing, but I did not move it. The Island is $25 and Listens Lives $27. Oh, and Coral is not available in hardback at this time. And then for paperback, all of my pirate books are $20 each, but Coral is a lovely bargain at $6. And then for ebooks, Coral is $2.99. Pirate's Daughter and Esperanza's Party are $3.05 each. And all of the others, Misfortune, Hard Times, Island, and Lessons in Love, are $5 each. If you're watching me on Twitch right now, please follow and... Oh! Somebody try to chat with me again. Oh, James. Dang it! One of these days... What was he trying to say? No, I stream a lot of stuff. If you're still here. I stream a lot of stuff. I just fill in the gaps with Minecraft. So if you're watching me on Twitch right now, please follow and chat, and please be patient with me if I don't answer you at all whatsoever, because I am still trying to. I know this is like 2-3 years later, but I am still trying to. I mean, since I used Twitch, started using Twitch. I'm still trying to get used to the chat being way over there and then this being way over here. Literally, my computer is to the left of me, and I know it sounds like I'm making excuses, and I pretty much am. I should do better, but it's not like my screen is right next to my Xbox screen, because my Xbox screen is my 55-inch TV, and yeah, it's just not close enough. And I am so sorry. Um, but my streaming schedule is actually that I stream Minecraft on Mondays and well, okay, Disneyland Adventures on Sundays, but I only do one thing now. I go and make sure I do the one thing, and then I go out of the game. And the reason why I do that is because I was coming up with like 6, 8, 10, whatever hour videos, and it was way too much. And you can't just go and say, yeah, somewhere in there is what you're looking for. So I started putting it to where it was smaller videos, and they seem to be watched a lot more than some of my other videos. And then on Mondays, I do Minecraft, and Tuesdays, it's backgammon, Roblox, and Clue. Used to be Zoo Tycoon, but it's Clue now. 'Cause I did not like Zoo Tycoon after a while. It became Garbage Tycoon. And yeah, I just, you know, if that's all you're doing is picking up garbage, it's not fun anymore. Okay. Anyway, and it's not fun anymore, so I started playing I got or I looked up Clue and finally found it. I swear I've looked up Clue before and it wasn't there. Um, but I finally found it and I'm like, I gotta buy this. So I've also been buying the expansion packs or whatever you call them. The DLCs. There you go. Anyway, I've been buying the DLCs, so it's not just Tudor Mansion, which I've finished with. It's also Nor Mansion and Blackadder Resort and Polar something. Polar Research Station? Yeah, I think Polar Research Station. And there's another one. I was trying to keep that a secret actually. And anyway, there's going to be lots of content coming out. We've at least got content out until January for Clue. Um, I realized that I was taking like way too long trying to get the one thing done. And for Blackadder Resort, I cannot get past this one part because you're supposed to go into a certain number of rooms. And the big problem with that is it's not counting. I went into 7 rooms in one game and it did not count. So I was like, okay, that's not going to help. It is bugging the heck out of me because I went into 7 different rooms and you're only supposed to go into 6 different. That's what you're supposed to go into 6 different rooms. And I went into 6 different rooms and it did not count. So then another game, and this was a very long time between game. I mean, like I had tried and tried and tried, but I only went into like 3 games. I mean, 3 rooms that game. And I just, I kept trying and I kept trying and I kept trying and I gave up for a while. I gave up for a while because I was like, this is not happening. And if you give up on a game, then you're not going to want to play it. And the thing is either programmed to go into 9 rooms instead, or it's just not working right. And I told them about it, and they haven't contacted me back. Could be one of those things where I'm the only one that has the problem, so therefore it's not a problem. But I'm streaming it and advertising their game for free, so they probably ought to do something about it. But then on Wednesdays, we do Dreamlight Valley. And on Thursdays, it's GTA and Forza Horizon 6. Every once in a while, I do Forza Horizon 5. That's once a month when I'm trying to get the Game Pass points. But that's like the only time. Because all of a sudden, you used to be able to press the B button, I think, and go backwards. And now you can't. Oh, no. That's not the B button. It's the left trigger. Anyway, you used to be able to do that, and now you can't. So, every once in a while on Forza Horizon 6, it goes and tries to do that too. And yesterday on, it may just be driving mechanics on the Xbox, but, yesterday it was trying to do that on GTA, and I'm like, rude! I'm like, you can go backwards. And then all of a sudden it decided to do it. And it's like, okay. As long as it's doing it. I may have had to yell at it, but as long as it's doing it. Ooh, that's pretty. Oh, it's the sunrise. It's sunrise went way too fast. It's funny, I said that and it slowed down a little. Wow, 2 minutes, okay. So we are going to finish this row of floors on the second floor, apparently. We're going to finish this, and then we will go out of the game. Anyway, then on Friday, we have, hopefully he'll find me on YouTube. I haven't been able to tell him what the YouTube is. And I don't want to give him like a warning and I don't want to give him a warning, saying, "Hey, YouTube is this." I'm just hoping I will find him one of these days, or I could actually bother to on every single one of my videos, whether it's on Twitch or YouTube, put the thing that says exactly how to find my books and exactly how to find me on social media. I don't know. Okay, so, oh, dang it. Okay, so this side doesn't have it. Wow. Okay, so we need 1 row, 2 row, 3 row, 4 row, 5 row on 1, 2, 3, 4 floors. Oi, that's gonna take a while. Okay. So, I've said everything I need to say. I will see you in the next stream or video.